everyone. It's Ryan from Rocky Mountain Cigar Show here. Thank you for tuning in for a. All right, so that was a little technical glitch. I picked up my little trackpad and apparently it started the video again. Holy shit. Anyways, thank you all so much for tuning in to another Thursday episode. We've got a fantastic show with a power couple inside the cigar world, and they are ripping it up and down with what they're doing. They've had Boofy in their magazine. We have all right, I have no idea. I'm not even clicking on anything that time. Oh, there we go. All right, so we have their Ash Quarterly Spring 2022 magazine. You have their Boofy Winter 21 magazine. If you guys do not know who Ash Quarterly is, you are about to find out. But first, let's go ahead and say a big thank you to all of our sponsors. We have a huge shout out to Drew Estate, the big man from Smoking Cigars, Abe DeBabna, Karen Berger from K by Karen Berger, Glenn Case and Chair Trudeau of Christoph Cigars. We've got BAMF Cigars, badass motherfucker cigars with ROCF cigars as well. We also have a big shout out to the official drink of the Rocky Mountain Cigar Show, which is Axe and Oak, my favorite brand long before they ever advertised on this show. My wife and I discovered them shortly after we moved here, and we have been obsessed with it. So tonight, we are going to be pairing their bourbon whiskey stout beer barrel finished to go with this. Look at how beautiful this is. Look at that. The Gran Bellicoso Prensado from Ash Quarterly and Alec and Bradley. Now, they've got a lot going on with this cigar. I'm not even going to attempt to explain all that this cigar is going to do. I will absolutely leave that to them. And last but certainly far from least, New Air humidors. If y'all are looking for a brand new humidor to put all of your amazing Ash Quarterly Prensado Gran Bellicoso cigars in, all you got to do is head over to newair.com, use my discount code Cigars RM15 off. Cigars RM15 off, as well as go ahead and jump over to BAMFcigars.com and ROCFcigars.com and use my discount code and buy more cigars to fill up that brand new humidor. RMCS 15 for 15% off your entire order over at BAMF Cigars and ROCFcigars.com. So, without any further ado, oh, shit. I do want to say one last thing before I bring them in. If y'all are here in the Colorado area or feel like traveling in for an amazing fundraiser, please do yourself a favor. Head over to eventbrite.com. Search for Rocky Mountain Cigar Night. We are having this at a castle, everybody. A castle. It's $150 for the ticket, guaranteed 5 premium hand-rolled cigars from various manufacturers. Currently, we have, let's see, who's up here for the manufacturers that we already have stuff for. Let's see. We have BAMF Cigars giving donations. We have Gabby Caffey from Caffey 1901 coming in, as well as Christoph, Espinoza, Oliva, Big Sky Cigars, Perdomo, JC Newman, Drew Estate, and Fuente, as well as a local here in Colorado, Sagrado. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Cigars, which is a manufacturer from the state of Colorado. You're going to get appetizers, beer, wine, liquor, drinks. The soft drinks are going to be provided to us by Rocky Mountain Soda Company. And there will be a commemorative challenge coin that is going to be only 100 made. And they're going to be a Glencairn topper. And we're working on getting the Glencairns as well. So that'll be included in that live music, live and silent auction. So all you've got to do is jump over to eventbrite.com, search Rocky Mountain Cigar Night, buy your ticket. Doesn't matter what store is listed. If you're not a frequent supplier or buyer of any of the stores listed, don't worry about it. Just choose one and buy the ticket. They're all exactly the same tickets. And all of this is going to go to raise money for Ronald McDonald House Charities. So come enjoy a night at the castle, smoking cigars, having great drinks, great conversation, all while raising money for a fantastic organization. If you're unfamiliar with what Ronald McDonald House Charities does, they supply the funds for families to be able to travel to get their kids the medical care that they need. It's an absolutely fantastic group. They will be there, as well as various manufacturers will actually be there as well. Working on a very, very special guest. Won't quite disclose that because I do not have a full confirmation. I have a half confirmation. But enough talking from me. Let's go ahead and bring in the Ash Quarterly power couple. We've got Jason and Rebecca. Please, I'm going to butcher this. Faulkenburg.
Hey, no, you killed it. That was perfect.
Okay, right. I butcher everything name-wise.
No, I mean, and this one typically is butchered, so you did good.
Yeah, you did really good.
Fantastic. Well, I tell you what, I'm going to let you guys kind of open the show here for a minute, and I'm going to hand the floor over to you. Now, everybody that watches the show all knows who Rebecca is. As Rebecca was on the show by herself a couple of months back and reached out to me, asked to be on to go over and talk about their brand new cigar collab that they have going on with Alec and Bradley. So I should say Alec Bradley. So I will go ahead and hand it off to you guys. Please introduce yourselves, and I'll give you the floor.
Well, I like to say I'm Rebecca, and I am so happy that he's with me because now he can answer all the questions because I did this by myself. So I'm looking forward to this like a lot.
And a great job you did.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I was honest, so that's good.
She's always pretty awesome. I'm lucky. I got to say that on camera so I don't get hit when we get off. So, no, first off, thanks for having us on. After we do this, I definitely want to chat with you more about that event because I think we can get you over some cool stuff for like the raffle, stuff that you're doing.
Yeah, I wish we lived closer because that was like awesome. I was blown away.
But it's a little bit of a trek for us to get out that way. But
I'm sure.
No, that sounds like an amazing event. So the cigar, we'll just kind of dive into that a little bit. I'll go into the why first. So with Ash Quarterly, we started doing the rating club about a year and a half ago, which is the component where we add in, that's how we did the ratings for the magazine. So I don't know if Rebecca talked about it last time, but I hate the way ratings are done with 99% of the, different systems out there, whether it's other magazines or bloggers or whatever, because it shouldn't be one person's opinion or a select group of professional cigar smokers, whatever that is. I believe that my opinion doesn't really matter, and I shouldn't say this cigar is this, and everyone needs to believe me and go buy it because of that. So we decided to do similar to like a Cigar of the Month Club, to where we send out 4 cigars. They get rated by the consumers. We take that average. That's how we do our rating. With that, we always throw an extra cigar. So it's 5 cigars, 4 for you, 1 for them. The them is Cigars for Warriors. So we've been doing that since we did it. I love trying to give back to them. It's a great organization. But I'll be honest, I wasn't the happiest with the stuff that we were donating them. Not that it was bad, but it was just kind of leftovers, or, when I say leftovers, leftover from, previous month's subscriptions that, because we're buying boxes, obviously. Stuff like that. It wasn't special. And I believe that the troops in combat zones overseas fighting for us deserve something special. So I reached out to Alec Bradley, which has been a fantastic partner with us since day one. And I was like, hey guys, this is what I'm thinking. I want to make something special for them. So we kind of toyed around with some ideas. They came back to me instead of creating a new blend, which is a whole project that I honestly don't have the desire to do at this moment. It's a lot of work. And if people don't like the cigar, hey, that's Alec Bradley's cigar. But it's great. You're going to love it. But, there's nothing tying me to it. So I don't get my feelings hurt. Because that will happen. Someone's like, oh, that sucks. I'll cry about it for like 3 days. She'll tell you. Like, it'll eat me up. But they came back and they're like, hey, so how about we take our Prensado, which is a fantastic blend, won plenty of awards, been on tons of top lists, and, creating a size that we don't carry, a Gran Bellicoso. And I'm like, really? Yeah. Like, there was no back and forth, no, well, what about this blend? I mean, that's a fantastic, generous offer from them, in my opinion. So they came back with that. So we cap our monthly rating club at $100 per month. So for this entire year, the maximum donation we could give would be 1,200 cigars. So regardless if we sell all 100 every month or not, we're donating all 1,200 cigars for this cigar. We're doing it at an event next month, which I'm happy about. We'll kind of talk more about that. But they made 2,200 total. So the majority of them that were made are being donated, which I love that. And not just that, but when you hear small batch, limited edition, and all this stuff all over the place, and then they throw out numbers like only 20,000 made, and I'm like, yeah, that's not your main production. I know you're going through it, but 20,000 to me is not limited edition.
That could take years to sell.
It could, but 2,200, and really only 1,000, not even 1,000, because I guarantee you, I put some in my humidor that will never be sold. I gotta have some for me, right? So, I mean, really, there's only going to be about 900 of these out there available to purchase. So, to me, that's limited edition.
I have to say, I thought it was surreal until we actually got the cigar because they were so great. And I was like, no way. And we couldn't tell anybody. And that was like driving me bonkers. So it feels so great that we can tell people that it was Alec Bradley that we're collaborating with.
Yeah.
And I don't know, when I saw it, I felt so amazing. Like, this is really real. They did that great. We're able to support Cigar for Warriors. I can't explain when I got it in my hand how, like, wow, this is like really happening. I had to see it. I had to feel it. I had to smoke this cigar to like really set in that this is really happening.
Well, and I got to see it before her because I went down to the office when they came in, went down to Alec Bradley and got to have one. I had it with Alec and Bradley. And then the dad, Alan, joined us for a little bit as well, along with John Lipson. He's their director of sales and marketing. He's been my main contact with them. So we all just hung out in the office smoking the cigar. And I'm sending her pictures like, wish you were here, this is great, I
wanted to be there, but I mean, we have kids and sometimes you're like, well, I don't know. Changes things a little bit.
Well, no, I think this is fantastic. I love this. I love this size. I'm not usually a big shaped tip cigar smoker, but when you're dealing with a company like Alec Bradley, it's always going to be rolled right. And that's usually my biggest complaint with the shaped tips is they're just, I mean, I've had some of them to where it's, you get a box and half of them or 5 or 6 of them don't smoke right, too tight, not. So you can't really go wrong with Alec Bradley. In fact, Bradley's actually going to come on the show here I think in like 2 months. But let's get to a few before we dive into this, because I have Kevin Shahan blowing up my feed here.
Nice.
So let's see here. Kevin, yes, I 100%. New Air sent over their new AC unit. And I tell you, this thing is like an igloo now. I love it. I have to turn it off halfway through the day most of the time, and it's absolutely fantastic. Let's see. Do you get to joust a peasant at the event? I don't know. We're working on that. We maybe have that worked out. Kev, what are you doing that night? You want to come up and be the peasant? Let's see here. There will be ale. I can't speak about the turkey leg unless you bring it yourself. You do not have to dress in a costume, but you're more than welcome to. We don't discriminate.
It's just something about dressing up. Oh no.
Yeah, no,
Kevin, he's gonna dress up. Kevin is so cool at dressing up. He's gonna do something cool.
Oh yes, no. Kevin goes everywhere dressed up. So we'll. Yes, Kevin, you can bring your own sword. Yes, you can bring your own sword as a cigar cutter. And he says, "Hey, you stole my catchphrase. Them is cigars for warriors." And then Kevin kind of throws a little bit of shade at Rebecca. Rebecca was so excited about the cigar. She jumped for joy and broke her foot, and now she's on crutches.
I really wish that was the case.
That's awesome.
Hopefully wish that was the case.
Kids are a buzzkill. Did they tell you they tell you why they made a blunt bellicoso instead of a more traditional? Yes, Kevin, you got in front of me with my question. I was about to get into that here. So, since Kevin brought it up, what's the deal with the blunt bellicoso versus the actual tipped bellicoso?
Yeah, so we had nothing to do with that. So these are molds that they already use in that factory. So that's the style that they choose. I personally like that blunted in instead of, a more torpedo-like tip. I think that's why we don't worry about those smoke issues that you were talking about. Correct. I think that plays into it 100%.
Correct. And when it's done this good, I like the subtleness on the shape on this one, but I often do find that when a shape tip rolls out well and they're great, then you actually do get a little bit more of a brighter flavor because everything is kind of beelined right for your palate in a good way. And it kind of just, in my sense, I'm able to pick out additional flavors or pick out flavors a little bit more brightly than maybe like a Toro or a Robusto that's not a shape tip. So Kevin says he likes the blunt tip as well. So let's kind of get into this a little bit. So what is why did you guys start doing the Cigars for Warriors stuff? Like kind of give the background of that. Are you former military, family military? What kind of gave you that passion?
So family military, not myself personally. So I tried, and I know that sounds really weird. So I had thyroid cancer years upon years ago. And when you have something like that, where you have to take a daily medicine for the rest of your life, it's called I forget the term, but it disqualifies you instantly. So unfortunately, the recruiter actually said, "You're worthless," which I thought was kind of harsh, but hey,
I would
whatever.
say so.
Yeah. So, but family military, I had, an uncle, Stephen Faulkenburg. So he was the highest ranking enlisted to get killed in Iraq. So he's a command sergeant major over there. There's been some stuff in books about him and stuff. There's a really great book called House to House. I want to say the author's name's like John Belavia. I'm probably messing part of that up. Fantastic book. So, if I don't know, are you your military background or not, but it really, you can, it takes you there, just fantastic. So, but even past that, just the military with what they do, so we ran into Cigars for Warriors at an event down in Miami a few years back. So Robert Allen, he's, I want to say his title is Director of Operations, but it's changed a few times. So I don't know what it is right now, but he was there with his girlfriend at the time, Tammy. They got married and we went to their wedding. They're great. So we just hit it off really well. They're such great people. The organization, everyone in there, Storm, he's, the CEO. What they do, no one there takes a paycheck. And that really just jumped out to me as, hey, these guys are phenomenal. They're spending hours upon hours. I guarantee you, Robert spends at least 30 hours a week working on Cigars for Warriors stuff. Wow. And he gets a little stipend for travel that I know doesn't even cover all the travel and expenses he has.
Well, he went and actually watched them box up, so he got to see
Yeah.
process of what all that work
Wow.
they put in. Their hearts really are in it.
Oh yeah. So with the magazine, we did like a little, overview of how that all works, because there's only 2 people in the States that actually take the donations in, that receive donations. So there's Robert down here. He's in near Ocala, Florida, small little, town outside.
My
And then there's
dad's
a
from
guy.
Ocala.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
So this is like Ocklawaha. There's some weird names down here in Florida. It's a little town, but it's in like the Ocala National Forest or whatever.
Uh-huh.
So it's right out there. So, but no one knows Ocklawaha, and I can't even say it right, so I just say Ocala. Uh, you know. But and then there's Pete Totaro, and I might be butchering his name too. And I don't feel bad because everyone messes mine up. So, get over it. But up in, I believe he's in Jersey. So those are the only 2 guys that take in those donations. Most of them go to Robert. So like if you see anywhere where it's listed on where to send donations, it always says, gives an address in Ocala. So that's
Yep.
actually the cigar shop that Robert works at. So
Okay.
they get all the donations. The owner there is fantastic. He helps out a ton. And then there's actually some of the Reiglers there. They call it Roz's Monday Night Crew, that go in and help Robert put all the care packages together and send it all out. It's great.
Some teamwork, amazing teamwork.
And, I always get people saying, oh, well, they take all the good cigars and all this kind of stuff. I know when people send in an Opus, it doesn't go in the donations. I've seen
That's
it.
not
Like,
true
I've been
at
there.
all.
They put everything in there. The only thing they're not going to send to the
Absolutely.
troops is stuff that's damaged, which,
Correct.
yes, don't send that.
Or maybe Cinderella,
Correct.
something like that. They send something.
No, they
maybe
send-
something really small. People send something really small, and they're like, "Oh, we can't send that." I forgot.
Yeah, I think they might not send like cigarillos, but as long as it's not damaged, it can even not have a band on it. It doesn't matter.
It can't be machine made, I think, isn't it? No, it can be. I thought no, it has to be premium, hand rolled, right? Isn't that one of the rules too?
Yeah, I've seen them put in Opus. I've seen them put in, tons of high end stuff. Davidoff, like left and right. Like they don't sit there and pick through. Nobody there's taking cigars. Like it just doesn't happen. They're a
No.
fantastic organization that doesn't get paid, and they do it for love. They do it because
Correct.
the guys and girls in these combat zones overseas, they don't have access to a cigar shop. They don't have any of
Nope.
that. So if they
No,
can get
they
a
don't.
cigar and have a little quality time and just like a sense of normalcy for an hour or two, that means so much to them.
Yeah,
So
Absolutely.
We got stories sent in that we asked for that
my
were
gosh.
chains and stuff, and it like made me like cry because they were saying how like this cigar took them away from what's going from around them and the peace they felt when they think about when they're out, how wonderful that cigar like almost saved their lives. We were hearing just having that cigar
Oh, yeah.
save their life. That was like phenomenal, and these stories were just, I don't know. We were so honored to get those stories and really hear some of the scariness they've been through. And it was just, it was amazing.
yeah, how can you not want to send them a cigar?
Story in the magazine, this one, right?
Oh yeah, no, totally. I agree with you. I'm just I'm sharing this show to grab to make sure that everybody gets to see this. That's why I keep looking down. So
No, well, we can't even see your face.
Yeah.
oh, that's true. Well, then, hey, you guys actually have the best spot in the house then compared to everybody else that does get to see my face.
I only see like the
Um,
very top of my head right now. So
Well, let me ask you. So, you obviously military's in my background as well. My granddad was in the Marine Corps from 48 to 52, so he missed World War II and he missed Korea. He was always weirdly disappointed about missing both, but that was the mindset back then, right? It was,
Oh, yeah.
as I'm going
It
to
was
kill
different.
you.
It was a sense of honor,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, so you guys do the cigars for Warriors. How many cigars are you guys bringing in for Warriors, or are you just having everybody ship it to the Ocala thing and kind of blend it together?
No, so the way it works when anyone buys one of our rating club packs, so we automatically will send one over. Now, again, this year, because it's capped at 100 each month, and we're already donating the 1,200, so we don't need to do any math. And this is something that moving forward we plan to continue. Alec Bradley's on board to continue it with us, but they're also so generous. They're like, look, if there's another manufacturer out there that you want to do this with, go for it. Like, don't feel like you have to go with us.
And that's awesome to hear. I mean, that's
like, who does that? Because it's great for them too. It's
Of course. That's the industry, though. This is what I tell people about the cigar industry. There are people that have big heads in the industry, big egos, but they're usually also very
no.
they're usually always the first ones to help out as well. Alec Bradley, the real Alan Rubin, for anybody that follows Smokin', not the fake Alan Rubin.
Yeah.
They don't have anything to prove to anybody. They're a legacy brand at this point. They're not going anywhere, but yet they like to give back, just like the whole industry loves to give back. And are you guys sending over Ash Quarterly magazines to the troops as well?
We're not at the current moment. There's some that do. I think Cigar Press, they send out to them, and they get some from Cigar Journal as well. With us being a smaller print run than those guys, because we're free digital, so we get a lot more digital views. The cost on it, and right now, man, we're toying with the idea of going straight digital, because of supply chain issues with paper.
Absolutely.
It's backing us up 6 weeks minimum for every single magazine. Sure. Cost is skyrocketing, and I'm not a fan of raising prices.
No, I don't.
I don't like that. So we're toying with that idea of just moving to a digital format.
Yeah, but our subscribers have been really, happy with us, writing us messages personally and becoming friends. So we don't really feel like we have them on our back that we have to do everything, which is really great. And if we ever have an issue, we make sure that we reach out and let people know, so they're not left in the dark. And when we get emails or questions, we make sure we do it right away and all that great stuff. So
if we do go digital, what we're going to do is reinvest the money that we currently spend on printing and shipping and all that into a very comprehensive QR code program for brick and mortar lounges to get that digital imprint a little bit further, So it's not like we're just going to be like, we're going to save money. No, we're going to expand our reach instead, Does that? Yeah.
Absolutely. And the other nice thing about going digital too is then you can do, if you wanted to, you can do special editions for a month, because right now you guys are in the quarterly side, so you release 4 a year. But if there is a special edition, say there's a soldier that you want to feature and spotlight for that month, and it comes into you at the last minute, it would take nothing for you guys to then put something up online and just click send. And that doesn't cost you anything other than just maintaining that website. And that's the beautiful thing of going full digital here. Right now, Barry, I asked kind of how you guys were getting the cigars, because I knew you guys were donating them. Well, you said it at the beginning of the show, directly to that, but I wasn't sure if you guys were also telling people to send you cigars that you were collecting to ship out, because Barry asks, how does a private citizen donate?
So I'm going to use Rebecca's phone since we're using mine and pull that up right now. So Cigars for Warriors. I want to say it's .org. I'll find out in 1 second if I'm mistaken.
Typically always right. I should be saying
that. cigarsforwarriors.org. And there's even a little thing, donate now. It's the first thing when you pull up the tabs. And you can donate cigars or donate funds. They have a list of all the drop-off locations that accept donations. There's tons of lounges that actually just have boxes there that you can donate to, and then they ship them, so you don't have to even worry about paying shipping costs.
You just buy the register typically.
But if you want to send some in directly, if you go to that tab, the donate your cigars, the address is 8585 Southwest Highway 200, Unit 16, Ocala, Florida, 34481. So, and, it's crazy. I've been to that lounge a few times, like I was mentioning, earlier. It's called Roz's, and Roz's Cigar Emporium. So they get so many boxes of donations, man. Every time I'm there, there's stacks. And that's just such a cool thing to see, you know? I love getting to see that they're just getting loaded up. They have sent, and I didn't mention this yet, they've sent over 1.3 million cigars to date overseas.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know, right?
Wow.
Now, it would have been a lot more because previously, years past, manufacturers could donate cigars.
Yeah.
So, like, Drew Estate was donating, 50,000 at a time. I mean, huge
Sure.
numbers. So, because Drew Estate, Jonathan, he is the reason Cigars for Warriors is around, and that's straight from Storm's mouth, the CEO. If it wasn't for him, they wouldn't be where they're at, which is cool to hear, So, yeah, they could previously donate, but then the FDA kind of took that away.
Of
so
course
now
they
manufacturers, yeah, right, of course. So now manufacturers can't donate, which just sucks,
Yeah.
I mean, some still do, but they don't get, they can't get the recognition for it. It can't be a big publicized thing. They don't get any tax credit. They get, it's still a great feeling in your heart. But unfortunately, not every business just wants a great feeling in their heart, because there is a cost associated with it.
Absolutely, there is. And in fact, Barry, if you're looking to buy cigars for the Warriors, Smokin' actually has a spot on their website that they sell everything to you at wholesale, and it just goes directly into their bin and gets donated automatically. So there's that way as well. No, it's a fantastic program. I mean, I have buddies that were over there that would tell me they love smoking a cigar. They would actually relight their cigars because they would have to put them out at a moment's notice and come back to it later, So absolutely, it's such a fantastic program, and you guys have really put yourself whole hog into it in a way that you're leaving a lasting impression, not just on the Cigars for Warriors program, but literally on the industry by creating a cigar that's main purpose is for Warriors, because Jason's going to hoard all of them that he can, and then the rest of them will be sold, and then the rest of them are going to go to the Warriors. And like you said, almost half, or if not a little over half, aren't even being sold; they're being donated.
Yeah,
so
more than half.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Thank you for those kind words. I really appreciate that, Ryan.
Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. I mean, it's an amazing thing that you guys do, and I love your magazine. It's loaded with. I mean, my gosh. First off, I love the fact that it's a small magazine because it fits perfectly in the pocket, in the cargos. If you're going out,
smoke a cigar at the same time.
It doesn't require two hands. So
that was the point, man. I didn't want you to have a giant coffee table in front of you. It's ridiculous. These other magazines are enormous and full of ads. But yeah, no, we wanted you to be able to hold it in one hand while you smoke a cigar in the other.
So
and that issue.
I was just going to show everybody, for those of you that have never seen the Ash Quarterly magazine, it starts with the reviews of their cigars. And these are not reviewed by necessarily Jason and Rebecca only. These are reviewed by everybody. And there's Mario. Oh, right there. Oh, I'm sorry, that's Bradley. But like, it's such a great idea because you get so many of these magazines, and it's like, look at our review squad. They have over 3,000 years of cigar industry experience between four people. Here's what they taste. And I love the fact that you guys do the rating system that you do. I think it's a more honest rating system.
Absolutely.
As well.
Well, we didn't want anyone coming back and saying, oh, that got that rating because they advertise with you or, whatever, the whole pay to play thing. Because it does happen with some of these other people. Like I know for a fact, I've heard from, manufacturers, as soon as they stopped advertising with, certain
X
person.
magazine.
Yeah. Then all of a sudden now they weren't on any top list. They weren't, anything. And I'm like, that's not us. Some of the stuff most of the stuff we have in there don't advertise with us because we limit our advertising so much. Like we cap it at 25%.
And everyone's different. So, I mean, we put cigars in there that maybe we're not sure if we're going to completely like, but someone out there might absolutely love it. And that's such a great part about it.
Well, and
Absolutely.
I think a great example with the ratings is, so last year, our highest rating cigar, or highest rated cigar, which we did awards for the first time last year, was the All Saints St. Francis Toro. So it got Cigar of the Year with us based on our users, you know,
Great
readers and
cigar.
all that. And it is fantastic cigar. But did you see it get any kind of recognition in any of the big magazines?
No, it was definitely a sleeper.
Not yet,
But
though.
but what's crazy about what you just said is Mickey Pegg. For those of you that don't know who he is, he's the owner, one of the co-owners of All Saints. He's got the clout in the industry to draw a bigger magazine to review his cigar. So it was actually kind of weird to not see the All Saints brand kind of blow up a little bit across various platforms because of Mickey's history being at Davidoff and CAO and everything else.
I actually had someone reach out to me and say, like, I love the All Saints. Thank you so much. We never heard of that if you didn't put it in your rating club, and now I love it. So it's kind of cool. We got a couple of those messages of different cigars they never heard of. So that is so cool to get stuff in other people's hands that like it just as much as we do.
Absolutely. Totally.
Well, and on the fact that no one else did it. So one thing that I was told, and I didn't verify this, so it might not be true, but some of those other big guys require the cigar to be out for X amount of years before they'll rate it. And I'm like, or at least the brand, not the cigar itself, but the brand. So I'm like, how can you have a cigar of the year and not acknowledge any new brands that came out that year?
So what I was thinking about, and kind of to your point right there, I wanted to bring this up to you as maybe an idea for, especially if you go straight digital. You guys should do a straight up boutique only style review. So you have none of the bigger brands, none of the legacy brands, but strictly boutique, and then lay out what you guys classify as a boutique, either based on sales or amount of cigars made, and really put a spotlight on some of the smaller stuff out there, because there's a lot of brands out there that are fly by night. But then there's a lot of brands out there that are smaller, that put in a lot more care than some of the other companies, and they just blow your socks off, but not too many people know about them. I think your magazine would be perfect to have a boutique cover for one of your issues. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, so we've definitely been highlighting more boutique. Like that's been kind of a goal of ours every single month, to include one, really boutique kind of brand. So like this month, June, the packs that already went out. Have you heard of Founders Cigar Company?
Absolutely. They're supposed to be getting on the show, and I'm supposed to be getting something from them to try and review myself. So I'm looking forward to it. I hear great things.
We had their Douglas Habano. So, I'm sure you've already seen, but each of their blends has, a different presidential kind of namesake behind it. And it's a fantastic cigar. The feedback so far has been great that I've been seeing come in on it. And, so we try to do something like that. My kind of goal with the 4 cigars we put out each month is one big brand, one really boutique, and then 2 others wherever they fall, but always try to bring in something. It's funny that you bring it up, because I was actually talking to somebody earlier today, and they're kind of bringing up the same thing about the boutique. And I'm like, oh yeah, we do. And they're like, yeah, because I've tried, and they named like 3 or 4 cigars in a row that we've actually already included. And I was like, yep, that was in there. Yep, that one too. So, because it's an underserved kind of part of the industry, I think. And especially with, some of these Cigar of the Month clubs, like Abe with Smoke Inn. Oh my gosh, man, he puts out so many packs. Like we cap it at 100. Again, we're not trying to make money off this. We're doing it for the ratings, so we can, have true ratings in the magazine. Founders would not be able to have enough cigars to send somebody like Abe. They're just not there. So a lot of these new brands that are just coming out, they don't have the stock to go into, you know, some of these Cigar of the Month clubs. So it's tough. Like breaking in is hard to get the name out there because you don't have it. But with us, hey, we just need 100 cigars. We're going to get them out there. You get a rating in the magazine, which is a half-page ad, essentially. You know, it's the best way to try to help these guys. And it's all about helping because, I mean, we're still small, but we started tiny. And, you know, other people helped us get, you know, where we are. And they're continuing to help us grow, like Allie Bradley with the cigar. And, you know, you always do that. As you're helped up, you help the next up. That's the way it should be.
We even have Teddy Swims on the cover, and he's new and upcoming and blowing up, and he's awesome when you meet him in person. So that was like another really cool thing we got to do. Yeah, this
was the first cover that we didn't have someone in the industry on it. So I don't know if you read through it or not yet, but that guy, his name's Teddy Swims.
Oh no, yeah, I've read through this already. The Karen Berger article was fantastic.
Oh, she's awesome, man.
I love Karen. She's amazing.
She's great. Sweet and beautiful on social media and in person.
Absolutely.
They sponsor the show. I was very, very happy to have them come on. And the ATL that you had sent over was absolutely phenomenal as well. I was a big fan of that cigar.
Was that the black or the Libertad?
Libertad.
Okay, so we put the black in June's packs.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. The Libertad was a couple months back.
Yeah, the Libertad, man, was my favorite of their lineup. I've really enjoyed the black as well, but that Libertad is just fantastic.
And if I can make a recommendation on somebody that just knows a shit ton about the industry, has factories in multiple countries, just opened up one in Africa, has access to Irish tobacco. You guys really, really need to talk to BAMF and ROCF. Ishmael, Ish for short, Olevian. My gosh, he is. I introduced him to Rebecca a few months ago. He is absolutely fantastic, and he gives. I mean, he has got amazing cigars. He's the only one I know that carries a pure African Puro. And it is as aggressive as the continent of Africa. It is full, very good, very smooth. Definitely check out Ish over at BAMF Cigars. I know that he told me he'd love to team up with you guys. I actually talked to him before I introduced Rebecca to him, but you should definitely get with him. He knows so much, and he's got such an interesting story. Special forces, Spanish special forces, U.S. military stuff, governmental work. I mean, the guy's James Bond that makes cigars.
Yeah. Do you know if he's going to be at PCA by chance?
Yes, he actually just he got his PCA booth a couple weeks ago. So yes, he will be at PCA.
I will make a point to go by there. We'll probably hit up every booth anyways, but
are you guys doing Rocky Mountain Cigar Fest?
Probably not. You know, a lot of those fest kind of things, we don't do like a lot of event coverage. It's done so well by a lot of the bloggers and stuff out there. It doesn't really fit in. And especially, you know, while we're doing print right now, I mean, by the time we get there, it might not even be in the next issue for a month or two, and it's outdated, you know?
Yeah.
So we go to the ones here because we love going.
Sure.
But going all the way out there, I mean, the Rocky Mountain, I will say that is one that is on my list. I want to. But like she was saying earlier with kids, I mean, it's tough sometimes getting the traveling. I mean, they're getting to a point where they're pretty good on their own. But, you know, we already got trade shows that we go to every year that, you know, we got to leave them not by themselves. I mean, we get like
my dad's coming up so we can go to PCA, but my dad, I mean, they're getting up there in age and we're appreciating, but we know that there's going to be a time where I'm going to be staying home a lot more probably.
Or as they get older, you know, we'll be able to do more. But like, so we do the Barn Smokers, you know, which is a blast. It's one of my favorite events. We go down to Abe's Great Smoke. That's a fantastic one.
I'll be doing that next year.
Are you coming down for it?
Yeah, my wife is actually My wife loves cigars though. We were both former cigarette smokers. She got pregnant. I quit cigarettes with her. She never asked me to. I just felt that was the reasonable thing to do, considering that she also had to quit. And then I jumped into cigars a few months after I did. I've always smoked cigars, but I jumped into them much more heavily. A few months after I did, then she started smoking them, and now she's got the bottom drawer of my humidors filled with her cigars. And so no, she loves them. So my neighbors, Jeff and Laura Orcutt, and myself and my wife, we're going to be heading down to the Great Smoke next year for the Mardi Gras. Sorry about that.
It's going to be so great to actually see you in person then. That's going to be fun.
I know. Absolutely. I'm very much looking forward to it because, you know, I feel like I'm so secluded here in Colorado from the industry outside of being able to just video chat with people or talk to people on the phone. So I'm going to be like running around like a chicken with my head cut off at that event. Like, I'll get back to you. I'm going to go and talk to them for a little bit, or I'm going to go talk to them for a little bit. So
I'll hang out with your wife a little bit if you need to run around. I do not mind at all.
Well, she'll have plenty of pictures of the baby. So
yeah, we're spoiled down here, man. I'd say close to 90% of the manufacturers are based in Florida.
Well, on the humidity, I don't feel like
we're and especially the big ones. You know,
we're a little spoiled. Florida, PA, and Texas are pretty much the major spots for cigars in the country. Little shameless plug here for Kevin, just because Kevin's a good mentor of mine. Kevin says, make sure to jump over to the Omar to see Omar at the Fratello booth and check out the new collab cigar that Kevin actually did with them. So you guys will definitely have to check over and check that one out. I guess
I love that Kevin is watching. Hopefully Jessica's watching.
But I'll say, you know, Omar's awesome. Like the guy a lot. But I hate that he's taller than me, man. Oh, I just can't stand it.
Here we go again.
Like, I'm like, every time, I'm like, this is the only guy I have to physically look up to in this industry.
Is that when we went to TPE and I felt really weird?
Yeah. When she stands in between us, she's just like, I don't like this. I gotta go.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'6".
Oh, you're taller than Caldwell then.
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty close.
It made me feel super duper short between both of them. And I laugh about it now, but it's like looking up to two people and then taller than your husband. This is like.
Yeah, I think Omar's crazy. What, like 6'10"?
Holy shit.
Dude, he's up there, man. He is a giant.
You know, Rebecca, you could stand in between them like kid style and hold her hand and do the whole like, wee, swing.
Yeah, we could swing her very easily.
I don't like height, so no thank you. I don't know if I completely trust him to do that, so.
I might let go.
By the way, that's the real way she broke her leg.
Right.
Or foot. I'm sorry, foot.
But yeah, no, we'll definitely, Kevin, we'll definitely be over there to check that out, man. I'm excited. Kevin's been doing some really cool collaborations. He's a busy guy right now. I love it.
Oh yeah, Kevin's one of the busiest guys in the media.
He's a little crazy, world. But it's like fun and exciting, crazy, and I love seeing his videos. So people will be like, "Do you see what Kevin did?" I'm like, "That's Kevin being Kevin." So I'm not like shocked. He's getting people checking him out. He dresses up like was a Randy Man Savage or whatever, just about
Macho Man.
Macho Man. Oh, Steve, my bad.
Randy Man. I mean, when it's Kevin, it might be Randy Man. You know, he might be a little Randy.
He washed his, car and Speedos, and I'm like, that's awesome because that's Kevin. But I love it.
I still think one of the best of his is when Boofy sent him over the big.
Oh, that was scary, man.
And he's like, yeah, Jessica said nobody would ever know if I wasn't wearing underwear, but
Boof would know.
But he's like, yeah, he goes, Boof would know and I would know. So when Boof sent me over this, he's like, I want something skimpy. So, I'm a little bit more reserved. So I sent him a picture of me making out with it. And he's like, I need more meat. And I'm like, we need to define what you mean by need more meat. So one of these days, I'm just gonna drape it around my neck like a chain, go completely naked with the Namakubi cigar, and just smoke
Do you
it.
guys ever wonder what your wives are thinking or your other halves are thinking when you guys do this? Or they see it later and they're like, oh my gosh, they're blowing up their phone. Did you see what your other half did?
Matt is amazing and crazy and funny and just. Did you read the Q&A we did with him in the last issue?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh my, dude, I was like, really? My mom's sweet nectar is your favorite drink? Okay. We'll take it.
The only time that I've ever seen Abe turn his camera off was when Boofy was on, and they used to do the Avo questions, and it was something along the lines of what would you like to do, what would you like to have somebody do to you? And he's like, go down on me or something like that. And he's like, could you imagine smoking a good Avo cigar while so-and-so is going down? And Abe just turned the camera off and was like, I don't even know what to do here. I don't even know what to say.
What do you say to that?
No, on our Zoom call with him, he said some stuff, asking questions to us, and some of us are women were on there were like, probably shouldn't answer some of these questions. And then you're sitting there wondering, he asks, I'll just say it, if whoever, when's the first time you pooped in your pants? And we're all like, what?
No, last time, not first time. First time was when you were a baby. Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
But
you know, people shared and we're like, well, okay, good for you, but I'm not going to be comfortable sharing that, but you go.
But see, he gets away with it because he never comes across like a creep. Like I told him, I'm like, hey, I can't wait to see you at Cigar Fest. Just to let you know, I'm just gonna come straight up and give you a reach around hug. And he goes, you better. Just like, but no, I mean that was a fantastic article that you guys had in a write up on him.
Oh, dude, he's great. And she did all that. She got that set up. She got him on the cover. I mean, I
remind him quite a bit because it felt that good.
Yeah, no,
I reach out to him just to check on him sometimes because I like him as a person in general.
So speaking of Matt, what's your take on the acquisition?
Love it. Like Matt said, there's no such thing as selling out. You're getting paid. That's what it's called. And Matt has nothing to prove to anybody in this industry.
No, absolutely, man. I mean, I've been a little disappointed with some of the comments I've been seeing from some people. I'm like, you're never going to buy Room 101 cigars again? Like, really?
Yes, you are. Yes.
Yeah. Well, and if you don't, then hey, more for the rest of us because his cigars are amazing. And all this is going to do is open up his ability to get certain tobaccos. Like, he's going to have so much more buying power and access that we're going to see even better cigars from him.
Absolutely. And yeah, for sure. And that's what I tell people. It's like Matt Booth did not sell his brand. He took on a partner more or less, and he's stepping back from the finance side of it, from the running of it, to be the creativity of it. Because he's on still as a creative director. So as long as he's on as the creative director, Room 101 will always be Boofy's Room 101.
Well, it's time to have more with his family, probably too, a little bit. I mean, his family.
I don't know. I think he's going to be busier with this. I don't think he's going to have more downtime.
It depends how you look at it. I do think he might have a little bit more downtime because he's not going to have to be struggling to find product. He's just going to be able to make a phone call and get it. He's not going to be probably stepping back a little bit more from having to run the day-to-day operations and stuff like that. But Booth doesn't ever slow down. So it wouldn't surprise me if next thing you know, there's a Speedo line, Room 101 brand Speedo line, or bikini
giving him ideas.
He was rolling out the THC product, and then that kind of disappeared. And now it makes sense because I'm sure with this big acquisition, I'm sure that played a factor in that, you know. A big company like STG probably doesn't want to be in that business at this time.
I don't think you're right. I mean, I live in Colorado. There's literally there's as many dispensaries here as there is Walgreens and stuff
Oh
like
yeah,
that. I mean, you go to
and
Denver, it's a whole block.
and it's
so
gonna get
full.
that way everywhere, man. And it needs to open that up to everybody. Like, come on.
So do we get to, if that does happen, do we get to see like a nug quarterly?
Hey, I'm not opposed to it.
Yeah, that
So-
might be a lot of fun.
I will say there's already somebody that we're talking to about a second magazine in that industry once that happens. That's not my expertise, that industry. Again, I'm not opposed to it, but I'm not knowledgeable. And there's science there, man. Like, it has become so much more than just somebody growing a plant in their backyard. This is scientific. It's insane. So
oils help kids with seizures. I mean, there's amazing.
So when that day happens to where it's a national product, you might be seeing another quarterly product from us, man.
That one might not have the monthly.
I don't think we'll be able to do that. I mean, maybe one day, like when I'm old and the kids take over, we might be there. But I see that being far away from being able to send that stuff in the mail.
Now, what you guys don't see is the 6-foot bong sitting right next to Jason, off camera.
I mean, it's got to be 6 feet, so I don't have to, get down.
I know. That's what I said. You can just stand up and just take the. So, but no, like I said, I think you guys have such a great thing going. I think you have such a unique magazine. And I personally think you guys have a more honest driven magazine with how you guys do your reviews without mentioning other names of other magazines than most do. I love the fact that when I do look at your magazines, I'm not looking at quote unquote professional smokers. I'm looking at everyday smokers. Like, that's a big thing, right? When you go to Rotten Tomatoes and look at a movie review, if the critics hate it, I typically know it's going to be a good movie because the audience score is what I go for. So what you guys provide is the audience score version of Rotten Tomatoes, and the other magazines provide a critics score version.
What
and
a great way to think of it. It's what you said before.
Yeah.
Great.
I always use the website IMDb?
Mm-hmm.
I've always used that comparison because they do the 10-point scale as well, like we do. So anytime someone's like, man, that's kind of a low score on something that's like an 8.7, and I'm like, what's your favorite movie? It's my favorite thing to do to people when we're going over this. And they'll, name some movie and I pull it up and it's got like a 7.1 average rating. And I'm like, but that's the movie that you think's the best movie ever. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, exactly. If you look at IMDb, like their number one movie, I think it's still Godfather, I think. And it's like a 9.2. There's no such thing as a perfect 10 when you're looking at consumer-based ratings. Everything's, objective. I'm going to love something that you're going to hate. I might love this cigar, and you might be like, yeah, it's not for me.
And that's okay.
Absolutely. That's totally fine because you guys remove the egos out of the reviews, which is a great thing.
I have no ego. Like, I just don't. Again, I think my opinion is worthless. Or it's as worthy as anybody else's. Not worthless. Let me rephrase that. Because I smoke the cigars that we put out there, and I rate them as well, my honest rating, and it gets in just with everybody else. And, there's stuff that we put out that I'm not a fan of. But if, like, especially boutique stuff, if they send out a sample and they want to get in there and the draw is great, the construction's great, all those, unobjective qualities are fine, I'll still put it in. Just because I don't like the flavor profile doesn't mean that 70% of the people out there are going to not like it. It's not about me. You're not getting a Jason curated pack every month. Like, I'll be the first one to admit I put many cigars in there that I'm just not a fan of. Not that they're bad. They're just not for me.
And that's what makes you guys different, right? Because you're literally taking a wide swath of cigars. You're not just going to a lounge and going, I like that one, I like that one, I like that. I don't like that one, but I like that one, I like that one, I like that one. You're putting in a wide scope of light, dark, mild, heavy, full, medium, peppery, smooth, and you're giving your subscribers the ability to challenge their own palate as well, which is a great thing. It asking somebody to review cigars that has never reviewed a cigar, it's a little intimidating. But you guys take the intimidation factor by letting them smoke it at home and give their anonymous so-called review back to you, and then all you do is amalgamate the rhythm, the metrics together and spit out the rating as an overall average. And that's just not something that you see. You give an interactive magazine, and when you look at the other ones, there's no interaction capability to it.
Thank you. That means a lot. I will say, full disclosure, there are times where I will not include a rating that somebody submits, and I will tell you exactly why, and let's see if you agree or disagree. So, on appearance, if you give something a 1, that's not realistic. There is no cigar out there that you look at and be like, that's a 1 out of 10.
No,
that's not.
Is it rolled? If it's
yeah,
rolled,
right?
It's at least a 5.
Exactly. Like, there's kind of minimums there. So, like, some people, like, I'll throw this out there because it's a known thing. So we put Gurkha in one, I think, 2 months back. Some people hate Gurkha. You know, I like to say, like, Gurkha is treated like the Nickelback of the cigar industry. I feel like people think it's cool to hate on it. Like, and I don't get that. Like, well, don't like them, whatever. But there's so many people that are like, oh, yeah, Gurkha sucks. I'm like, oh, which ones have you had? I've never tried it. Everyone just told me they're awful. And I'm like, no, go try one. You never know.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still feeling what happened a few years ago. I mean,
I agree with you. Yeah, when Gurkha's CEO kind of opened his mouth about a political race issue, kind of buried his foot in his mouth, and that hey, there's Ish. Hey, Ish. Yeah.
Hey.
Figure I'd show off the badass motherfucker cigar shirt tonight. That's Ish, by the way, from BAMF.
Nice. We'll be seeing you in a couple weeks.
But yeah, Ish, they're gonna come up to you at the table at PCA. So definitely make sure you get with them. But no, I don't disagree with that. You can't have a cigar appearance as a 1 if it's rolled and capped. Like,
or
I can see not giving it a 10.
Yeah. Or if they give something all 1s, then I'm like, okay, they just hate that brand, and I'm just going to take that out of the equation. Because that shouldn't be included in a rating, in my opinion.
No, because you have to have realistic ratings. You wouldn't include somebody putting a Spinal Tap 11 on a cigar.
Exactly.
You know? So,
but that's the only time we don't do it. When you can look at it and know that that's completely a biased opinion, then hey, we just remove it out.
Absolutely. And for all you out there that don't know about their cigar journal,
hey, there we go.
This is fantastic. They give you all the draw, appearance, cigar, notes, everything perfectly lined out, ready to go. Place your label at the top, and it's a really slick book. So, I mean, definitely, I guess Quarterly has it going on. I mean, they know their clients, they know their clientele, and you guys do a really good job. But I agree with you about the whole Gurkha thing. Like, now Gurkha's also, Juan's a very good friend of mine, Juan Lopez.
Oh, he's phenomenal.
He'll be the first to tell you there was a point in time where Gurkha just slapped labels on anything and everything, but that's gone by the wayside over the last few years. And now you have, Abe Flores that's doing the Ghost, and I mean they've got the Trenta, which, if I'm correct, is done by Aganorsa. Like they've
got a couple with Aganorsa, like the Nicaragua series. That is a fantastic cigar, man. Like, but I pretty much like anything that Aganorsa has done. So it's not hard. They're just 100%. They're fantastic.
100%.
But yeah, I mean that, and then Jim Colucci, taking over now as CEO and running the show, they're making some big changes. And I encourage everyone, give Gurkha another try. Just smoke a cigar.
So what are you drinking tonight with the Prensado?
I'm having water.
Okay. What about you, Rebecca?
Well, I went walking around today, and I just keep drinking water.
We're trying to be a little healthier. It's not near as fun.
Well, I was handing out flyers for our event coming up to support our troops. So I thought that would be more personable if instead of calling, I'd walk around. So I walked around in this hot sun to local businesses and planning to go to some, what is that?
Yeah, like VFW and
do that here soon too, but I just think it was more important to be personable and show up. So I just been drinking water all day so I wouldn't pass out from the sun.
So, we can't see your full face and all that. Are you smoking the cigar now or?
Oh my gosh, yes. I've been waiting. It was everything I could do to not smoke it yesterday when I got it. I love Alec Bradley. The Prensado is one of my favorite cigars that Alan Rubens blended.
How are you liking it in this Vitola?
I love this Vitola. Like I told you before, the shape tip. I'm not a big fan of shape tips normally, but I like the blunt tip on this, and I like the fact that the shape tip performs very, very well. But on top of it, it's kind of like targeting my palate, so I'm getting a lot more brighter flavor notes out of this than I do the Toro or the Robusto. So kudos to you guys for the shape and the size. I mean, it's fantastic. If I could make a suggestion, come out with a Lancero next time.
Yeah,
I'm a big Lancero guy. So I always suggest Lanceros. It drives everybody nuts because most of the world of cigars don't like Lanceros.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm a big fan as well. The smaller ring gauge in general, like I've been getting into petite Coronas a lot more lately. I like Lanceros, but sometimes they can be a little one-dimensional because there's just not that much room to play with the blend in there. But if we go with another manufacturer next year, it will probably most likely be a different size. If we stick with Alec Bradley, we're probably looking at sticking with that Gran Bellicoso size because they don't carry that in most of their blends. So it's I think there's only like one or two blends that they have that size in. So making that almost like the staple limited edition, So we'll see. And we might do other stuff besides this too, as far as collaborations go. It's not, we'll try to do the Cigars for Warriors thing every year because I'm a fan, but there's some other charitable components and some things, awareness raising that anything that we do with a cigar, for right now, one, I will not have anything to do with the blending because, again, I don't want to cry. And two, like, there's going to be some kind of component to it that either raises money or raises awareness for a cause that is important to me. So we have a few in mind. We've got to find the right partners to work with on those. But
it's a good partner to start with.
No, Alec Bradley was the perfect person to do this with. I mean, they are phenomenal.
So let's go with some of these comments here. Yes, Bruce, the Revenant from Gurkha is absolutely fantastic. Love that cigar. Great great box press. Ish says that Gurkha has some of the best advertising ever and will always be that way. So no matter what people think of the brand, they will always be strong. I don't disagree at all. Dan Thompson, who I know is a good friend of you guys as well, says, "Howdy, everyone. Sorry I'm late, but I'm confident you're having a great show." Yes, we are, Dan.
Hi, Dan.
And in remarks to the to the Lancero, Ish says that he knows somebody that can make them, Link. Like I said, Ish has multiple factories throughout the world. And he really, really puts together a fantastic cigar. Joey Blanco or Bianco. I'm just awful at pronouncing names. Sorry, Joey. And then Kevin says here, of course, everything with a cigar is so phallic. The pointed tip is easier for mouth penetration, but the blunt tip goes in fine if you just moisten it a little. Jesus Christ.
Of course.
Now, Kevin did ask something earlier. Is that a new hat you're wearing, Jason?
Yes. So we just got these in. So we did a really small batch. It's the new era. It's fitted cap. Me and Kevin are a little different. He likes those big wide bills. That's not my style. I just can't pull it off like he can, you know? So we went traditional bill. It's got the red underneath, the Ash Quarterly. We literally just put those up on the site like an hour before we jumped on here with you, if that. So
Nice. Yeah, I'm a big hat guy. I mean, I shaved my head few months ago because my hair thought it was going to be able to break up with me first. So I said no. I decided to break up with it first.
no, I typically keep mine either clean shaved or buzzed all the way down. So if you see me wearing a hat, it's because I've been lazy and didn't cut my hair. It's so damn thin, man. It makes me look
very true.
It makes me look 10 years older if I don't cut my hair. And yeah, I already look old enough. I don't need help.
Well, I'm going for the beard comb over. So
You see the beard comb over?
Oh yeah. Google while you're there, you'll laugh your ass off. Google the clean comic. Well, I can't think of his name. Just Google beard comb over on Google.
Yeah, I'm doing it right now.
And
I wear hats to hide my gray hair. Oh wow. Oh really?
Oh, that's awesome.
that was a commercial for I forgot what product, but that's he's a comedian. I can't think of his name.
Yeah, that's just awful.
Well, you don't have hair to really. I mean, I don't.
How do they get it that nice and straight, man? Wow, that's impressive. I don't know about that.
All right, so Kevin says here, okay, contest time. Let's see what he says. Jason Ryan, I will grow our hair in for 6 months and see whose looks more ridiculous. Dude, I just spent 30 minutes in the shower shaving my head. I don't know that I want my hair back. My wife likes me better without it.
I say we just say Kevin wins right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, Kevin's got one of the nicest beards in the industry. Absolutely one of the nicest beards in the industry. I hope to. My wife said I could bring mine to about right here, so we'll see if I could actually pull that one off. For some reason I feel like it stopped growing past this length.
I was about to say mine kind of caps out about here. Some parts will still grow, but it starts looking kind of frizzy, so I just trim it up a little bit.
He actually shaved it too low, and he really did pout. He normally doesn't pout, but it was like he didn't want to go anywhere. I'm like,
I was sad, man.
To be a woman when you don't like your gray hair or whatever, you're like, I know, I don't want to go out in public.
Well, I was like, I don't remember my face being this round. Like, what the hell? Like,
well,
I didn't like it.
When I shaved my head, like my wife was like, "Oh my gosh, your head's gonna be lumpy," and so I used one of those filters on Instagram. And I was like, this is what I'm going to look like. And she's like, well, that's perfectly smooth. And so when I shaved my head, she's like, holy shit, it actually looks like the filter. It's perfectly smooth. And so I, look at my brother's head. He's got knots in it and scars. But mine, I pull it off. I would have done this 10 years ago. If I would have known, I would have looked 25% better than I do with hair.
Oh yeah.
So, but let me kind of drill into you guys for a minute. Are you going to have anything on the horizon? Now I know you said that you would cry if somebody didn't like it, but are you guys planning on ever having an Ash Quarterly specific blended cigar?
I mean,
is that in the future?
Yeah. So, I say, I would cry and I would, but it's not something on the immediate horizon, but maybe some kind of anniversary, maybe, 5 years in, something. We're not opposed to it. I would still like to partner with somebody on it, a collaboration, but it's where we're part of that process. And if we do, it's going to be another extremely small batch. I like that. I don't want to do anything crazy. But there's so much that I like that I don't even know where I would start, you know? Like, do I want to do Connecticut broadleaf? Do I want to do some, like, there's so many things that I'm a fan of. I just don't know.
Well, if you had a company that you would choose, and if you don't want to give a name, that's totally fine, because we all have too many friends in this industry to kind of be like, why didn't you say me? But if you had a brand where you'd be like, you know, if they would make it for me, I would be very much open to it, who would it be?
So, I mean, there's plenty, but I would say there's probably 3 that stand out the most. One being Saka. The guy there's not a cigar from him that I don't like, you know?
Knowledgeable as all.
Yeah. Like, I would learn more doing that with him than probably anyone else, right? And that's not a knock on anyone. I've never talked to anyone that knows as much about tobacco as he does and is as passionate as he is. So
and he's the original cigar reviewer, so it would kind of take full circle.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I would be 100% down for that. Another one would be Alec Bradley, just because of how good of a partner they've been and the relationship we built. So I would never say no to that. And then the third would kind of fall on the same lines as Saka would be Southern Draw. So they're one of those brands that everything they've made I enjoy. Like, my favorite cigar for like an everyday, I mean, obviously there's special occasion cigars and stuff like that, and not every day, but the Jacob's Ladder and the Presidente. Oh my gosh, man, I love that cigar.
Well, that's a 9-inch cigar.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's the 9-inch cigar, right? Or is that the Bridgestone?
Oh, dude, fantastic cigar. I think it's at 9x48. I might be wrong there, but I think it's 9x48. And it's fantastic. So, but again, there's plenty of others, but those are the 3 off the top of my head, you know, because I love a lot of brands out there, obviously. Love a lot of cigars. But I would say between Southern Draw and Saka, those are the only 2 people that I could say I thoroughly enjoy every blend they make. And that doesn't mean others are bad, but like, I enjoy, and that's hard to do.
It is.
You know, I'm not a Connecticut guy, but the Sabre Mesa Brulee is fantastic. The Rosa Sharon, you know, with Southern Draw, probably my favorite Connecticut, because it's got that arrow in there that just punches you in the face, and I love it.
And he loves his wife, and he smokes that cigar so he can think of her in the morning.
That is the only thing, man.
He makes other men look bad.
He does.
Because he loves his wife. He shows it, and you're like, how come you ain't doing this for me?
Yeah.
He puts chivalry back into cigars.
Oh, absolutely. We were doing a thing with him. You know, we do from time to time. We haven't done one in a little bit. We need to get back on it. But like, we call it a cigar with, where we do. Oh, you went black.
Nope. No, I hit the wrong
there
button.
All right.
I switch
to where it's like a curated pack of cigars from one brand, and then they get on a Zoom and, you know, that kind of thing. And we had them on there. Well, it was just Robert. But he's talking about how every morning he always smokes a Rosa Sharon just so she knows he's thinking of her first thing in the morning. And I'm like, dude, I mean, he said it so more eloquently and beautiful and sweet. And I'm just like, dude, really? Like, she's right here. Like, hello. No, they're fantastic, man. I love Robert and Sharon, and then they're just great people.
They were very encouraging when we first came out and went to our first TPE, right?
Yeah, from day one.
They were so encouraging, and it was just so neat to see a couple, like, talk about a power couple, really.
Yeah.
Not so much.
Yeah, no, we're nothing.
They said the most kindest words and inspiration to us, and it really meant a lot, because we heard some tough things when we first started, and that's going to happen. We know that, but that like still stands out to this day, years later, of just how genuine and encouraging they were to us. And I mean, it was great.
Well, Robert's got such an interesting rough story with some of the moves that he's tried to make in his personal life with businesses and stuff like that. Gained a lot of money, lost a lot of money. So Robert is nothing if not humble in
Oh,
everything because he's hit that rock bottom and he knows what it's like to have to start over to an extent, of course. But
yeah.
like, so even with my show, Robert's always been super encouraging. When he came on, he was a great guest. But if you ever decide to do a Lancero, honestly, the only company that would come to mind for me um, would have to be just because they do so many of them would be that Southern Draw
Oh,
on the
yeah.
Lancero side of things.
Well, and do you know the trick of why they sell so much Lanceros?
No,
So they price their Lancero and their Robusto at the same
the
price.
same.
And no one else does that because a Lancero costs more to make. So it's
Yeah,
always priced
harder.
higher, and that perceived value to, the average consumer is that small cigar is more expensive than this. And by them doing that and losing a little bit of money, they're selling more Lanceros than probably anyone else out there, I would say.
Absolutely. See, this is what's fun about not having. I love having brand owners on, of course, but this is what's fun about not having a specific brand owner on because we get to talk about such a wide variety of things. But I would
Yeah.
like to kind of bring it back to Ash Quarterly and what do we expect from you guys for the rest of the year? Can you give us an insight into the next issue?
Yeah.
And then kind of if you guys are open to it, telling us anything else news wise that you guys have going on for the rest of the year.
Yeah. So the first thing we have going on is the launch of this cigar with Alec Bradley, the Prensado Gran Bellicoso. So we're actually the only way to get this cigar is going to be, obviously the 1,200 that we're giving out to the troops. But then the rest are kind of divided up between. There's a shop that we have been with since they opened called Executive Cigar Shop, the one in Sanford. So there's two. There's one in Melbourne as well. So they're going to carry it. The launch event is July 2nd at the Executive in Sanford location. So we're still, preparing for that. That's going to be hopefully a big event. So anyone that's listening that's anywhere near, please come out. It's going to be a great time. We're launching that cigar. John Lipson's going to be out there, Director of Sales and Marketing for them, or Vice President of Sales and Marketing, whichever title. He's good. So, he's going to be there. We're going to be there, obviously. Cigars for Warriors is going to be out there doing some raffles. We got some cool raffle prizes for them. And then that shop is also launching their next barrel release. They do a lot of barrel picks there. So with Garrison Brothers, I don't know if you're familiar with that company or not. They're based out of Texas. Fantastic. So I actually got to partake in the pick of that. And it is absolutely phenomenal. I'm a bourbon guy. I grew up in Kentucky, so I kind of have to be, right? But it's just delicious, man. I wouldn't say that I'm like the biggest bourbon guy. I'm not, a snob by any means with it. But, we're tasting it. It's got hints of like really deep black cherry and dark chocolate. And it just came out fantastic. It's 170 something proof. So it's like 68.15% alcohol. It's intense.
Yeah, I got to try and I'm like, whoosh.
Yeah, I was buzzed
That's a little
leaving
warm.
that tasting, man.
I made sure I took him home.
She had to drive.
Yeah.
I was like,
And he hates when I drive, so
Yeah.
he's being on the safe side.
I was done, man. And then there's gonna be live music there. We got a food truck there. I mean, like anything and everything that you would need at a cigar event is happening there.
Yeah, and we have like the flyer we've been like trying to give out to people. I don't know if
There you go.
it's different.
Yep, right there.
And I mean,
Perfect.
this shop just does such a fantastic job with events. It's the shop that, was talked about in that last issue that you got, or the newest issue. And you're the first person to get that. No one else, we haven't sent that out yet.
Oh.
So you're the only person besides us that has a physical copy of that issue.
Well, it's a great issue. And I'm actually going to do this for anybody that wants their stuff. This is your time to scan the code for the free digital subscription. So I'll hold this up for a minute, and anybody that wants to, please feel free to scan this, and it'll take you right over to their wonderful website, and you will be able to get their digital subscription. And
Thank
again, their magazines are just like, again, they're great size. They're almost pamphlet size, and they work really well to smoke a cigar and hold and read. You don't have to sit there and constantly be doing this and everything else. So awesome. So
yeah, I
what
believe
do
the
we have?
like the
Go ahead.
technical term is digest, I think is what they call it. You know, like remember the Reader's
The
Digest back in
Reader's
the day?
Digest. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, but what's the Mac booth call it, which is cool?
Oh yeah. Wow.
Gazette?
Gazette.
Gazette.
Yeah.
Oh, there
Booth
you
calls it
go.
a Gazette. And I'm like,
There
all
you
right,
go.
I'm not offended. So you know that event's number one on our list right now. Once we get through that, once we get through that, then we're going to PCA like
So it's like back to back.
less than a week later.
Yeah.
So then we got PCA. That's gonna be pretty busy. And then once we get back from that, we're gonna kind of start planning out some more stuff for the rest of the year. Like I mentioned, we're toying with the idea of going digital only. And that's just because of all the issues with supply chain right now. It's been impossible. Like we do some white label stuff for some brands. We just did something for Nova Cigars. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them, but
I've heard of them. I've never had their stuff. But
yeah,
quick,
they're boutique. They're growing. Great people.
Real quick, Dan asks how you scanned this in a video. Dan, you open your phone, open your camera, point your camera at the screen, and it will capture that QR code.
He's probably
So
watching on
that's
his
how
phone.
You do it.
Yeah,
that is true. If you're
and that's
watching on
funny.
your phone, then it won't work.
Well, and that's funny because, you know, I see a lot of people post QR codes like as a picture on Facebook. And I'm like, 99% of people looking at this post are on their phone. How the hell are they going to scan that post? You know, that QR code. Obviously, that's funny when people post that. On a video, I get it. That's fine. Anyone that, you know, can't scan it, obviously just go to ashquarterly.com, click on the digital, and you'll see all of our past issues on there. You know, we keep digital for free. We just don't see the point in charging someone to read something on their phone. That's crazy. Those that do it, I don't know why. You know, what's a couple bucks? It's not worth it.
No,
we're all about wanting people to read it.
Not. Yeah, absolutely.
It's ease of access. Like, I mean, we're in a little over 100 lounges with the physical copies now, and they don't pay a dime for it. We send it out, no charge. You know, we want people's eyes on it. That's what it's about.
Of course. And again, you guys aren't like a heavy advertising gazette, to throw back to Booth.
Yeah,
by any means. And so that's nice because you look through. I mean, when I look through this, I see an ad for Alec Bradley, and then you get into the articles, then you get into K by Karen, and then you get into the headline article. And I've only seen one ad really outside of the back page. That it's not like you're looking through a NASCAR magazine. You know, you guys didn't turn this into a NASCAR style magazine. When you look at so many other magazines, I mean, it's just article, ad, rest of the article, another ad, full page ad, double page ad, half page ad, another article.
But we never put an ad side by side. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
We don't do that.
Yeah. Well, and you know, too, like like you mentioned, you're flipping through that magazine, not ours, but others, and you see an ad and an ad. What do? You flip real quick, right? You're not looking at it.
Oh, so yeah, it's like a DVR. You just fast forward it.
Yeah. So if you're reading some content and there's an ad on the other page, even if you're not, you know, intentionally looking at it, subliminally, you're seeing that ad and it's getting to you. That's why we did it that way. We want you to actually look at them, not flip. It's annoying. So
well, and you guys don't want people to sit and flip 10 pages through to get to the meat and potatoes of the magazine.
Yeah.
And that's the nice thing about it too.
Well, and like you mentioned, like those other magazines that have all that, you know, it's crazy. We are a small magazine as far as size, right? But there's more content in our magazine and less pages, smaller footprint than most of the big guys. And that's just insane to me. It
But
shouldn't be that way.
But see, you guys, again, the passion comes out more because you guys have such a small team. You don't have the required overhead that some of these other
Exactly.
magazines have. So you don't have to have all of the fluff content in the
Yeah.
magazine. It gets straight to the meat and potatoes of it, the articles, an ad here, an ad at the end. That's it. And then all the rest is valid, fun, readable content that you can go through a few times and enjoy it each time.
Yeah, thank you. And you know, the size of, you know, the team and overhead and all that, that's intentional. We plan on always doing that. I don't want to get to the point where we have to have an office and a staff of, you know, 15 people and all that. Like, that's not the goal.
We don't want all that extra added stress if we don't need it. Life's already kind of stressful in itself. And
Yeah. Well, and it allows us to keep less ads in the magazine because we don't need to put an ad in there to pay for, you know, a team member, and then another ad to pay for this guy and another ad to pay for that girl. So it allows us to keep it that way. Which,
but your articles feel like the bigger companies, and that's the trick, right? Your articles feel like the bigger magazines, and that's like the beauty of it. And that's really what you guys are going for, is the content, the quality of the content that you guys are putting out is equal, if not better, to some of the other magazines out there. And it shows in the way that the articles are written, the passion behind it, that it's not a fly-by-night magazine by any means. It's not a magazine that you're going to pick up and read once. It's interesting enough to read it a couple of times. It's like watching Fight Club, right? You watch Fight Club the first time, you're like, what the fuck just happened? And then you watch it a second time, and you're like, okay, I'm starting to get it. And you watch it a third time. Your magazine's good enough to read it a few times and go, I didn't pick that up the first time.
that really means a lot. You're gonna make me all like get all I mean, thank you.
I mean,
seriously.
it's like the best someone could say, man. I appreciate that. Seriously.
Absolutely.
You know, it's a goal for us. And, you know, a lot of that comes from a lot of our partners like Boveda. I mean, they provide content every single issue for us, which is great. You know, I love partnering with them. Same thing with PCA. They provide content on the legislation side of what's going on in the industry in every single issue. I think that's important to get that out there and let people know the battles we're really facing. Because, you know, a lot of people, they kind of know, but then they just kind of turn a blind eye. But if we can put a couple pages in there, I think that's great.
Absolutely.
So I couldn't do it without them. And if you saw the first issue, it definitely looks like a fly-by-night operation, man. I'm, you know, looking back, I'm like, damn, I charged people for this?
Yeah, but you've only gotten better because you learned from trial and error. So.
Oh my God, I don't even want anybody to watch my first video.
Right?
It was awful. I mean, I'm up there going, hi, it's Ryan. RM Cigars. How you doing? I'm about to tell you about a cigar. I'm in my backyard using my iPad. You see my serial killer shed right behind me. It's like right out of Dexter.
Nice.
You know, and so like when Abe was kind enough, there's I did watch your first video, Ryan Ish says. Yeah, I know it's pretty comical to where I am at now. But like that was one of the things that Abe told me, because Abe was my very first my first love in this world for cigars as far as a company. Was Smoking Cigars. They gave me my first sponsorship. They gave me tons of advice. And Abe's like, dude, you're a dude in your backyard with your shed for a background. Like we've got to fix that. And then so occasionally I threw a piece of wood behind me and I stained it. And then I added some stuff. And then I grew into it a little bit more. And then I got better camera, you know, and that's the one thing that I think you guys have learned too, is you don't have to be perfect all at once. It's more about the content. The perfection of the product and the look of it will come as the product grows and goes through the growing pains of building that product, because there's always something that you can look at and go, I'd like to tweak this. I'd like to tweak that. And once you're done saying it's perfect, get out of the business, because then you're never going to grow.
Right.
100% agree.
Yeah, very well said.
You know, it's crazy that you say that about Abe, because he is responsible for a lot of the changes that we've made in the magazine.
You know, I'm kind of harsh.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Harsh but good.
So I went down. We interviewed him for the magazine, and one of my good friends, Joseph Genovese. So he makes these Y Bears, the one I'm making right now. His brand is YA Barra. So he made it very easy for us, you know, people to pronounce Y Bears that I can't pronounce in that fun accent. He does a lot of photography stuff for me as well. He's phenomenal, man. So me and him were down there, and Abe, it was funny. He's just flipping through the magazine, you know, and he's just like, just rips me apart for probably about an hour. And man,
I wasn't there. So
yeah, she wasn't there. And, you know, it hurt, but then I get past the hurt and I'm listening and I'm like, you know, that's a good point. And, you know, I didn't take all his suggestions because, you know, they're not all what I want to do. Because like he's like, oh, you need a hot girl on the cover, and I'm like, that's not us. We're not going to do that. I'm not going to put some half naked girl.
But that's not. I'm not.
It's not unattractive women. He's getting at, you know, that half naked, you know, sexual in nature.
With a girl not even smoking a cigar,
yes.
Just holding it in her mouth.
And I'm never going to do that. You know, we've had plenty of women on the cover. Rebecca was one of them.
Ladies in Elite.
Yeah. But that's just not me. But a lot of the stuff, and you know, when I did it, I'm like, man, this doesn't look so much better. And it's funny that he can come off very harsh and direct and blunt, but he's doing it for all the right reasons. I mean, look, he's helped you, he's helped me. Like, this is a guy that, you know, on the outside, people might think, man, that guy's an asshole. He doesn't care. No, he cares a lot about the industry, and it shows by him taking the time to help people that does nothing for him. You know,
correct.
Him helping me did nothing for him. He doesn't advertise with us, nor do I expect him to. He did win an award through us because our awards are even voted on by consumers.
Shop owner was it? It was shop owner of the year,
consumer
right?
engagement.
Consumer engagement. That's what it was.
Yeah, because I think that's such a huge thing. Nobody does that award that I know of, and that's what we're all about.
And to Abe's credit, you know, Abe. The one thing that I love talking with Abe about is he doesn't beat around the bush. He doesn't tell you something just to tell you something. There's always a purpose for what he says to you and how he says it. You might not take that and run with it, but it's never bad advice. And in fact, one of my best friends just commented, John. And he says, you know, he was a big encouragement for me to get started doing what I do. He says, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. And that's a very true statement. You have to take that leap of faith. And I'm not going to lie, when I talked to Abe that first time, I was all marble mouthed, and I've been in sales 20 years. I don't get marble mouthed. I mean, the only other time I was nervous was when I had Dennis Prager on the show, because it's Dennis Prager, right? Big time celebrity, big time political pundit. I'm a huge fan of his. But even at then, like, I was more nervous to talk to Abe the first time than I was talking to Prager, because Abe, you just know you're going to get Abe, all of Abe, 100% of Abe all the time. He is who he is, take it or leave it. And I love that aspect about him. I've always appreciated that aspect with him. So, well, let's kind of delve into a little bit about you guys. So I'm really big in my world of having mentors. Not just professional mentors, but life mentors as well. I have about 6 mentors and about almost evenly split 3 and 3 business and life mentors. And the way I classify those is business mentors are there to give advice based on your success, and life mentors are there to tell you when you're fucking up and to tell you this is real, right? Stop, grow up, deal with it, be an adult, right? And life mentors to me should never be easy on you. They should be there for comfort when you need it, but that comfort needs to sometimes come with a heavy hand. So, do you both have mentors in this? If you're comfortable with giving names out, please, but how do you guys use your mentors?
Yeah.
Like
So
you are my mentor.
I'm not your mentor.
At the same time, I can be brutal with him and then loving and then vice versa, honest. I don't know.
I don't count. I can't be your mentor. I'm your husband. Come on. So, yes and no. So I'd say first, like, I'm a firm believer in you always try to learn something from everyone you come in contact with. So to some degree, I'd say everyone I ever talked to is a mentor to some capacity. There's always something you can learn from somebody. Like you said earlier, as soon as you think something's perfect, just get out of the business. As soon as you think you know everything, you need to reevaluate your life, man. I mean, it's not that way. Now there's obviously people that I go to more on things, and for different reasons. So like I mentioned Joseph earlier, we don't talk as much as I would probably like to, but every time I talk to him, I come out of that conversation inspired and invigorated and just ready to tackle the world. He is that guy that just motivates me more than anyone I talk to. He's fantastic. And I try to tell him that as much as possible. I'm like, dude, you need to be a motivational speaker and he's like, I don't think people want me to tell them that they're fucking up. And I'm like, no, sometimes you need to hear it.
Jessica.
Yeah.
I look up to her a lot, and it's kind of neat. We just message each other back and forth, and it's like we message each other when one of us needs it and we didn't even know it, or we're going through the same stuff and we didn't know it. And then like when we're done talking to each other, I know that I feel better because of her. And Jessica and Kevin, I don't know, they're amazing people. And I think very, very high of them as business and all that, but as real true friends that we have.
Absolutely. I would put Kevin as a mentor of mine in this. And Kevin's been brutally honest with me in many ways about hey, you need to do it like this, or not you need to do it like this, but you should do it this way, or come into the show like this. Like Kevin helped me with my whole outro. Smoke what you like, smoke as often as you can, have a great rest of your week. Like I did this whole paragraph and Kevin's like, it's way too long. Short and cut it down. Let's work with that. So I completely agree. Kevin and Jess I don't have the interaction with Jess as much. But Kevin for sure is somebody that I look up to, that I know I might not like what I hear, but I know what he's saying is beneficial because he never tries to tear me down.
Well, Jessica has a special place in my heart. That girl right there.
She got you Taco Bell gift card.
No, it's not that. She wouldn't even like Taco Bell. It's me and Kevin that really like Taco Bell. But I mean,
Taco Bell.
we see each other. It's genuine happiness. And it's just the greatest feeling. Like, I can't wait to go to Smoke In, but I really can't wait to see Jessica. Like, that's what feels so good. Like, we forgot to take pictures at Heritage Festival because we were so happy to see each other. So we had to take it at Smoke In together. But it's just not happiness of just forgetting to take a picture because you just feel so good to see a good friend.
Oh my gosh. Hold on 1 second. Breaking news from Ish. Ish and Kevin are coming out with something that says that will blow our mind. Wait for it. Will be worthy. Breaking news, guys. BAMF and Cigar Prop are teaming up for a cigar. Broke it here on this show. Maybe will be in Ash Quarterly, but definitely broke it here on this show. That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's great.
Very happy to hear about that as well.
Starting to think Kevin doesn't sleep.
Kevin doesn't sleep. Kevin drinks enough Monster to keep himself awake like a meth head.
Oh, yeah.
So please continue. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. I didn't want to leave a couple people out on that mentor thing. Again, it's everyone to a degree. But Dan, I don't know if he's still watching, Dan Thompson with McAuliffe. So we've only had a chat a couple of times, but we do have some stuff scheduled coming up to chat more. He is fantastic, man. He has given some great advice, kind of lets us know that we're on that path that we want to be on. And it's always good to hear that from somebody like that, who's just, he's great in the cigar industry, but that guy is a businessman in a lot of ways past this industry.
Oh, yeah. Dan's
he's just
a business
fantastic.
Genius. He's a business genius.
And anytime he tells you you're doing the right thing, it's fantastic.
Dan actually started watching my show before I knew who Dan was and would always comment. And finally, I'm like, who is this Dan Thompson that comments all on my shows? And I'm like, oh my gosh, he works for McCall. I've had him on, and Dan's one of those guys. We don't talk as much as I would like, but it's not because Dan and I don't like each other. It's just we just don't. Life happens and they get busy. But Dan's one of those guys that when he does tell me something, I take it fully. As in, I might not want to hear what you say, but I know what you're going to say is good for me to hear. Yeah.
No, he's fantastic, man. Looking forward to more conversations with him.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, let's kind of do a little bit of a lightning round here. I did this with Rebecca last time, but Rebecca, you are always more than welcome to answer these questions as well. So what is Ash Quarterly's favorite rapper? Now, you could give me musician if you want, but I'm mainly talking about cigar rapper.
Yeah, well, so when you said, so we are talking cigar rapper, right? Because that's where my head went.
Well, you could go musician if you want. Some people start out by giving a musician and the cigar rapper. It's completely up to you. But what is Ash Quarterly's favorite rapper?
So I would say mine personally would be Connecticut Broadleaf.
Uh-oh. I don't really have the answer for that because I think of the other side. I like rappers and I play Hypnotize quite a bit in my life, probably like 10 times a week because it is my pump up. At a red light, biggie. I mean, like, I get all into it. I probably look so ridiculous, but if I'm like having a rough morning, I don't know, something about putting that on and some other songs from back in the day pumps me up, and I'm like, yeah. And then sometimes I get home and I'm like, I am so drained. But
now on the music side, I would say NF. Do you know who that is?
My music stops at about 2005.
Okay, so he's newer. But I mean, dude, this kid, the first time I ever heard him, I thought it was Eminem. He sounds so much like Eminem. It's weird, but it's crazy. So he's actually like hardcore Christian, which you would think would not play well into that kind of genre. But I mean, his stuff is inspiring. It's, so there's parts that are sad, like you'll tear up, you get excited, motivated.
He's been through pain, and he does it well through his songs, where you feel that, like, we cry when we hear certain songs of his because he went through it, and you feel. I mean, it's like
lyrically, this guy is just he's insane, man. It's just the initials NF.
Yeah, I've not heard of him. I know Tom McDonald. Because he's a political rapper, but I like musicians that wear their heart on their sleeve, which is one of the things. I don't agree with Eminem personally, as far as what he does or his personal life and what his thoughts are, but he is probably one of the best lyricists ever in the rap business. And there's nobody that can out rap him, in my opinion.
No, not at all, man. And
period.
That's the thing, like, if you take away any personal feelings, like, anyone that tries to deny that are just getting hung up on their own bias, right? Like, I mean, the guy is the greatest. There's no doubt.
Absolutely. What is the preferred cut?
I straight cut 99% of the time. I'm not a huge V cut guy, personally. I'll punch cut something if I know that it's a overly loose draw. There's some cigars that you just know are very loose. So I'll punch those so, I don't get, as easy of a draw, a little bit more resistance. I'll V cut every now and then, but just not my style.
I like the straight cut, and I like to have the perfect cutter because I admit I'm not the best at cutting. So when we get a perfect cutter, I feel like I won't butcher the cigar. So that makes me feel a lot more confident.
And then even with the straight, like I was saying with that Bellicoso, I do it at that slight angle, the slight bias. Any kind of Bellicosos, torpedoes, I always do it at that slight angle, and it really helps open up.
And I agree with. I'm a big straight cut person myself now. I used to be a little bit more into the V cut, but I really have gotten into the straight cuts a lot. And Rebecca, just something that Travis Pappenheim, if you're familiar with who he is from Altadis, he's their training guru. What he told me is one of the best ways to cut a cigar if you don't have a perfect cutter, put your cutter on the table, put your cigar right up against the table, and close it, and it's a perfect cutter.
See what you're saying?
And it's
exactly
what you want every single time. So if you
That's
never
really
don't
smart.
have,
Awesome.
yeah, that was one of the things that he taught me.
What is that, the punch? I don't want to do the punch because I feel like I would probably butcher it and mess it up. So
well, anytime you've done it, you break the wrapper because you're so like aggressive with it. You're stabbing it. Got to be gentle with that punch.
Thanks for everyone. That's cool.
She's pretending it's me as she's doing the punch.
So, how many little ring circles do you have scar-wise on your body, Jason, from Rebecca going?
I was like, wait, what?
So, what is favorite beverage? Either liquor, beer, spirits, water, soda, coffee. What's your drink of preference?
I'm trying to totally get off soda because if I get stressed out, I can pop a top of soda like one after another without thinking about it. But right now during the summer, I am like water, and
water with lemon for you.
Yeah, and it's like I'm having a rough day. Kids are driving me totally bonkers, and they're going to bed. I'm like, babe, make me an old fashioned, and I need it. And sometimes I'm like, make it a little extra strong because like. If you knew what happened today, well, you were out doing your thing with the kids, you get why I'm asking for an extra. So it all depends on my mood.
Yeah, I'd say ginger ale on the soda.
I used to make fun of him for that, but now I see why.
Yeah, no, ginger ale is great. It pairs well with cigars. It doesn't overpower, Not a ginger beer fan. It's too much ginger. And then beers, something dark, like a porter, something like that. Old-fashioned fan as well. Liquor, though, I've been getting more into rum lately. Been a big rum fan. Still love my bourbons and scotches, but rum has been where it's been at for me. There's one called Bamboo that is freaking delicious. It looks like the Opus X logo. Like it's got this beautiful X on the bottom. And it tastes like what you would imagine a pirate would drink with his rum. Like it's like banana Foster's kind of thing. Like you feel like a pirate when you drink it. It's fantastic.
I wasn't a big fan of it first, and for some reason I tried it for someone else. I'm like, oh my god, this is so good, and that like made him mad. You didn't really like it when I had you try it. But then after someone else, and I'm like, that was really the same thing that you got me to try, and then it's like, here we go again. But
someone else gave it to you.
It is. That's probably some of it. That's probably true. But no, it is. It's really good. And the Kraken, and all that stuff now.
So one of the things that Abe told me about was root beer with cigars. I never would have thought that would have went well, but he said you can't do like A&W or mug. Or
yeah, no, it's got to be
in the bottle,
glass bottle.
Yes, and my gosh, it really complements a cigar beautifully. And to your point, Rebecca, I had a soda addiction that would make most people that I've had most people tell me they don't actually believe, and then I would get my wife to text in my line, and she's like, "No." I would go through 5 to 6 24 packs a week.
A week? Wow.
Okay, that is more than me, but we'll get a 12-pack before, and he'll be like, you just bought that yesterday. And I'm like, I don't know what it was. I was just having a rough moment, and or, if you have pizza or a burger or a hot dog, it's like, you got to have soda. So it's been a little rough switching to water, and trying to have as many energy drinks, go to coffee. But there's some mornings where you're like, I got to have energy drink. I got to have the soda, and somehow I'm going to mix water in that. Somehow drink some water.
I'll say the purple haze on the Bang flavors, the purple haze, Oh my gosh, man. It's like grape soda.
And that's
Delicious.
hard to find. So he doesn't see me going to like Walmart and going down like every aisle just to find his favorite one. And when I do, I light up. When I don't, I feel really bad. And then when I know where they're at and then they're out, I'm like, I went all this way. And I'm like, you're
It's delicious.
you're gonna have to deal with this monster orange, which is really good because I couldn't find the one that you wanted.
Well, real quick, if I don't know why my ad won't go away, but Ish. So I make my own bacon. So I'm going to put up a comment here from Ish over at BAMF. I make my own bacon, and I sent Ish a 10-pound slab, or actually right around 8.5-pound slab after you cure it and everything. And Ish makes this amazing cigar called Breakfast of Champions. And what he does, it was by accident, right? He was cooking bacon and picking up his cigar with bacon grease on his fingers and smoking the cigar, and was able to taste that bacon grease as it was absorbed into the wrapper. So what he does is he rubs the leaves down with bacon grease, and instead of an infused tip, what he does is he mixes coffee with the glue. So you get a coffee infused tip, but it's not like a sweet infused by any means. It's not gonna. You don't have to put it in. You could put it in your humidor. It's not gonna spread out like an acid would.
Yeah.
And it's a really, really good like breakfast cigar. And I sent him a slab, and he's making me my own Breakfast of Champions cigars with that blend, but my bacon grease. And he's smoking one right now. So I'm a little jealous. I just had to bring that up. I'm a little jealous. I don't know how many he's going to make, but I'm going to try to give away a few. But definitely check out the Breakfast of Champions from him, because it is a fantastic, fantastic cigar. So
hopefully
now,
he has some of those at the show, man.
What?
I said hopefully he has that at the show.
Well, hey, Ish, bring some of those to PCA. I'm sure he will. I'm sure he will. So what is, with closing here, I want to kind of give you guys the floor to close us out, and then I'll close us out. So don't jump off after you guys say what. But go ahead, give everybody the way to find you, how to subscribe to you, how to get your Cigar of the Month Club, your reviews. So I will let you guys close out the show, and then we'll call it a night. So the floor is yours.
Well, first off, I just want to say thank you for having us. I was really looking forward to it. That really meant a lot. Thank you for inspiring me, making me feel like it was okay to be by myself last time. So I appreciate that. So I'm going to let him do all the talking, and I'm just going to sit here and support.
So ashcorda.com for pretty much everything. So you can sign up for emails there. We do, different promos here and there through the emails. Do some giveaways as well. We have some cool stuff coming up for that. While you're there, you can check out the digital copies, always for free. Every issue's on there, including the newest one that hasn't even sent out yet. The rating club is $29.99. So again, and yes, I'm still in this from Kevin because he said it's so great. Sorry I didn't give him credit earlier, but it's 5 cigars, 4 for you, 1 for them. The them is Cigars for Warriors. Every month, it's typically, I'd say on average, about a $45 value of cigars that you're getting in there. Next month, I will tell you, is a little higher, because next month we are including the Alec Bradley Prensado Gran Bellicoso limited edition, that we partnered up with them on. So that will be in there, along with 3 other cigars, one of which is over a $20 MSRP. So I think we're slightly over $50 for next month. But again, $29.99. You get that. You're giving cigar to the troops, which is a fantastic thing to do.
Always free shipping.
Yep, shipping's free on everything on our site. So anything you see on there, whether it's, we do mystery packs as well, like grab bags, 3 cigars for $20, stuff like that. It's always free shipping. The hat, free shipping, anything. I don't believe in charging for shipping, especially making money on shipping, which is what unfortunately I feel like a lot of people do. So we're not about that. The cigar, obviously, like I said, you can get it in next month's shipment. There are still some spots open, so feel free. You can get 1 cigar that way. We have packs of 3, 4, I don't want to lie to you, So the MSRP on each of these is $13.45. So a 3-pack's $40.35. Again, free shipping. We have 5-packs as well for $67.25. And then we also have bundles of 20. We will put these in, 5-packs. So you'll get 4 5-packs. They just ship better that way with, Boveda and all that. We ship everything with Boveda. But that, you save a little money. You get 10% off. So you get $242.10. We also still have some of these hats available with the bundles. So some people that are buying the bundles will get the hats. So anyone that gets a bundle today should still be getting a hat. Let's see, what am I missing? Yeah, the hat's by itself too. Yeah. I think that's about everything. I mean, we appreciate you having us on. Glad you're enjoying the cigar again.
Oh,
that was all Alec Bradley. I'm so honored to do that with them. And, the bottom band was somewhat of a surprise. So I didn't know fully that it was going to be there until I was at their office and saw it. And I was like, all right, that's cool. Very honored,
Let's see if I can't get this to zoom in to the bottom band.
It's like really shiny sometimes. I think
There
it's
we
hard
go.
to.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that tribute.
I know,
Absolutely
man. So
gorgeous. Cool. Absolutely gorgeous. And Ish being a veteran himself, he says that if you ever need anything, count him in for anything that you guys need.
Oh,
I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to chatting with him.
Yes, definitely.
So, well, thanks so much to everybody tuning in. This was such a great show. I love having Rebecca on, and Jason's fun to have on too. But
Hey, I'm good with it.
So thank you so much to Drew Estate. Thank you so much to Smoking Cigars, K by Karen Berger, BAMF Cigars with I touched my nipples there. BAMF Cigars with ROCF cigars as well. Jump over to BAMF Cigars or ROCFcigars.com. Use my promo code RMCS15 for 15% off your entire order, as well as jump over to newair.com and grab my 15% off your humidor promo code, which is Cigars RMCIGARS RM 15 off for 15% off your order as well. Thank you so much to Axe and Oak for also being a sponsor of the show, and Christoph Cigars for being a sponsor of the show as well. So thank you guys for joining me. And until we see you again, smoke what you like, smoke as often as you can, and have a great rest of your week. Bye-bye.